everything to know about the Haunting of Bly Manor. Shocking reviews. Going for some thrill, I see. Well, whether or not you like light goosebumps creeping up your neck, or all-out scream-inducing horror, we're pretty sure you like some adrenaline, and this haunting series is for you. Last October 9th came The Haunting of Bly Manor, the second installment of the anthology The Haunting by Henry James, and the fans of its first installment, The Haunting of Hill House, had been craving for more horror after leaving us with lasting goosebumps with its exceptional storytelling and direction by Mike Flanagan. But this second installment had some of us raising brows. Want to know why? Stay tuned as we give you everything to know The Haunting of Bly Manor and some shocking reviews. It is not related to The Haunting of Hill House. If you like the first entry about Hill House, then you better get ready for a different kind of horror, because Bly Manor is a fruit of not the same tree. Mike Flanagan, the director of the Haunting series, explains that it has been enough about the crane, and the second entry explores a new classic horror like the style of the anthology American Horror Story. This is controversial for the fans looking for the same kind of horror from Season 1, with Season 2 having a different take on the horror. Goes around romance. Other than getting adrenaline boost from the horror to pump your day with self-fueled imaginary ghosts and scaring yourself clueless, and speaking of imaginary, did I just imagine that thumbs up button turned blue? Well, let me know. The Haunting series also features some romance and drama, with Hill House having us yearn for a love like nails, maternal lessons from Shirley and Steve, and some queer romance from Theo. Though there's a right amount of romance in the first installment, Haunting of Bly Manor has been described as generally a romance with a horror story. Now think of it what you will, but reviews have shown negative feedback on this too much romance, with fans craving for more horror in the story, revealing that it revolves around Danny and Jamie's relationship and the features of the horror in their lives. Has a good dose of queer love. Love wins, or so we thought for Jamie and Danny before the au pair claimed for her doom. Bly Manor is disguised as a still haunted mansion with hidden mysteries, but takes off the ghost blanket to reveal a wholesome love story, which unfortunately comes to an end of longing. The couple's relationship is unexpected gift to the show, which filled a lot of space that the grief and horror had made. Queer representation lacking. From the first installment, the fans have been firing up the queer representation and relationship of Theo, the romance with a good type of development, and feel-good lessons that softens you up like a warm bowl of mashed potatoes. Yes, mashed potatoes, because it just gives you that kind of satisfaction from good food. Now, Jamie and Danny's heart-pinching story is also like good mashed potatoes, but think of it with less seasoning or potatoes. Reviews show that although the representation is good, there is little background or story to their queerness that makes it lack meaning into the relationship and representation of queers. A lot of controversial women representation. Few reviews have been attacking this side of the show, as a lot of female characters have been negatively shown, with Danny being backlash for choosing herself than her ex-fiancé, Rebecca being naive and following Peter Quint, and Hannah Gross being cheated on, Charlotte Wingrave committing adultery, and Peter Quint having an abusive mother. On the other hand, we applaud the features of the strength of women, from Danny bravely confronting and accepting the horrors of her past, present, and her unfortunate end.
You're my best friend, and I love my life. And I don't know how much time we have left, but however much it is, I want to spend it with you. And I know we can't technically get married, but I also don't really care.
Hannah saving the group and overcoming the pain of being cheated on, eventually finding peace. Charlotte admitting and fixing her mistake, and working the family back up. Bly Manor truly shows dynamic features of women, which is a good topic for critical discussion that fans would love to sit on a wine or beer on, hitting those controversial scenes, like the Haunting fans hitting that bell below. Not as scary as The Haunting of Hill House. Reviews have been raising the red card for Season 2, saying it's not as scary as Season 1, and this is a major issue since Hill House has been applauded for its exceptional storytelling and horror that made the show famous. The horror displayed in Hill House was different from the other horror films and series, skyrocketing ratings and reviews which had the fans anticipating the second season. But this new installment is different, with its slow burn and 80s and 1600s setting. Quite a take of the turn.
It is you. It is me. It is us.
What could the fans be saying about this? Well, I'm not so sure. I'm still deciding how I'll run into my room after turning off the lights. It is anticlimactic. The story gradually reveals the mystery of the mansion, but this gradual development leads to a very unenthusiastic climax. The climax is a lot of happening scenes shifting confusingly, like following the Queen of Hearts in some street card trick. And trying to understand why the cards are moving at the same time was one challenging feat for our haunting fans. With a lot happening, the climax didn't seem much to be a climax, rather than a series of heels going up and down and flat sometimes. But hey, the series is still worth finishing for its plot. I bet our haunting fans held on to this season to the end like the last noodle, like they would hold to that subscribe button for some cool stuff. Floras Dollhouse is a real-time map of the manor. Remember that cute dollhouse with the creepy dolls Flora was tending to? If you do, you might just notice how the dolls change from place to place, exactly where the characters were, and the lady from the lake always away from the house whenever it was daytime, which is why Flora always knew if Danny had left her room at night. Mike Flanagan, the director, also confirms this and describes this as like the Marauder's map in Harry Potter. You can't deny Flora's bravery for keeping the thing. I mean, I wouldn't have made those dolls in the first place if it were me. And see them weirdly moving at night? Man, I'll simply move to a different house for that matter, running like the wind. You won't be seeing a lot of the original cast. Like the director said, this season is a whole lot different from the first one, and this includes the cast, which a lot have grown to love with their exceptional performance in Hill House. Bly Manor features the main characters, Victoria Perdetti, previously Nell, the star of season 1 as Danny, Oliver Jackson Cohen, previously Luke as Peter Quint, one of the antagonists, Henry Thomas, previously the young father, Hugh Crane as Henry Wingrave, Kate Siegel, previously the fierce Theo as Viola Willoughby, the famous lady in the lake. Other than them, it's hard to find any cast members from the previous seasons, though we'll also love new faces for the Haunting series like Tania Miller as Hannah Groos. Slow burn horror. If you're the type who likes jump scares, then we wouldn't recommend Haunting of Bly Manor, since it is a slow burn of horrors being revealed with the Lady of the Lake not so scary anymore, a part of the climax unlike the first installment, which had a dynamic sustained horror that makes you hide in your blankets watching, while the second installment has viewers posing like the bent-neck lady from the first installment, waiting for some action and waiting for revelations. Although the story is a slow burn and a little flat, one thing that hasn't changed from the series is the exceptional talent and performance of the cast that takes you to the story and see those genuine feelings, especially fear that of course brings out horror. This one got another free pass to our thoughts before sleeping once again. Just make sure not to go out of your room after dark and check yourself by your water reflection. What do you think of these reviews? Was there enough haunting in Bly Manor?
I expect if you were to fly to England, you would find no such place by that name.
Let us know how much goosebumps they gave you in the comments. Can't get enough of horror and adrenaline? Then we'd like to take you to the most scariest scenes from the series of The Haunting of Hill House. See you in the next video!